Most men don't fail because they set the wrong goals. They fail because they are still operating from a chaotic, outdated system that kept them behind last year. You can't build 2026 on hope, motivation, and good intentions. You need a system, a structure, a weekly rhythm that makes discipline the default, not the goal. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact operating system high-performing men use to stay focused right throughout the year. Before we get into that, we have to understand the mentality we're trying to get out of. Motivation alone is not going to get you through 2026. This is the belief system that men often have. They will wake up, they're motivated for the first week, it's a new year, it's a new me, and our mindsets are motivated. But as life starts building up and all of the distractions and rhythm and chaos of life starts, your motivation dwindles and your systems are not strong enough to carry you through. This leads on to you winging your week, having chaotic calendars, and misplacing your key priority and energy. And as we get towards the end of the first month, we're finding ourselves overcommitting, but not actually really achieving anything. And this is all a byproduct of you having planned outcomes, but having no systems to carry those outcomes through and stay consistent throughout the year. So we have to understand that discipline is not emotional, it's mechanical. And that comes off the back of the systems that we set ourselves daily and weekly. And that is what we are going to go through to create your unstoppable 2026. So when I did start to create outcomes and I did start to create goals and missions and I got excited about them, the one thing that I didn't have was the day-to-day systems, was the week-to-week systems. These were the reasons that I kept on falling down and I was getting more and more frustrated with my lack of progress. I was like the hamster on a hamster wheel, sprinting really, really hard, trying to achieve his goals, but not actually progressing forwards, all because I lacked a system. When the frustration of not progressing crept into the home, I really had to take a good look at myself because it was frustrating everybody else around me. I was taking that frustration out on everybody else. And this is when I had to come down to basics and work out what my system was going to be to ensure that I achieved my mission. And that system become my life. It become my non-negotiable. It become the habits, the routines, and the discipline that carry the man who I am today, who teaches other men to do exactly the same thing. And the training I'm putting together is of years worth of experience of helping over nearly 15 to 20,000 different people build a system, create direction, and build a life worth living rather than being trapped in a life that holds you prisoner. So you don't rise to your yearly goals. They are too far away. You rise to your weekly non-negotiables and systems. You rise to your standards. You rise to your structures. The man that you become is the byproduct of what you do day in, day out, every single day, regardless of the external influences, the hardship, or the curveballs that you face. When we don't have those operating systems, we become a reactor and we react to the things that are happening in our life rather than being proactive. And that can have an effect on ourselves emotionally, mentally, and physically. And it can drain our energy. It can deplete us of the direction that we want to go and the man that we're trying to be. And we end up a fraction of the man that we know we can be. And we're just not reaching our best version of ourselves because of this mindset. If you want consistency, discipline, and control, these things must be engineered from a day-to-day system. Your 2026 is only going to be as strong as your days and your weeks. Before we get into the 5-step system, we run a free group called Mission Hub, and in there is a ton of resources to help you build your 2026. There is a free copy of my book, there is podcasts, there is training videos, there's how to plan your quarter, there's everything you need to be successful. If you click the link in the description, you'll be able to get access on the other side. So step 1 is non-negotiables. These are your foundations of growth. If one of these goes missing, then this is where the life starts to get a little bit chaotic and a little bit lost, and our identity is trying to wonder where the hell we're going. So we build these up over time with the men that we work with. There is AM and PM routines, there is boundaries, there is fitness, there is time blocks, there is deep work sessions, there is growth deep work sessions. And we slowly, at one at a time, implement these over a year period. We don't just throw you straight in there and go, these are all your non-negotiables. We have to rewire your mind, we have to stay consistent, we have to build the discipline, and we have to see the process. It's the evolve, execute, and embody phase that we take people through. And this creates your foundations to your system. Number 2, we have to have structure within our working framework in order for everything else to work. Our boundaries, our health, our mental health, our connections with our family. So step 2 is about building balance, it's about avoiding drift, and it's about preventing overwhelm within the workspace. Now, we have to make sure that we have systems within the workplace so that the chaos does not go into the personal space. There is going to be those days when, of course, fucking happens. That's what happens, right? But what we're trying to achieve is a foundational system to work to. Now, this is a 3-step process. In the mornings, we focus on growth work. This is your £1,000 an hour jobs. These are the things that move your business or your career forwards. These are the high value focused tasks. Then in the middle of the day, we look at the things that need building, whether it's relationships, whether it's software, whether it's a process, whether it's a strategy. This is where we then go into that build phase. And then the last part is looking at operations, catching up with staff members, catching up with processes, catching up with accounts, whatever it might be. And this allows us that structure, that system that we need on a Monday to Friday basis of when we're building our business and when we're building our careers. When we have this in place, everything outside of it will run really smoothly, which allows us time for health, time for ourselves, time for our family, and a good balance right across the board. So step 3 is about creating intention and eliminating chaos. This is your weekly planning. Remember, you rise to the standards of your week, not your year. So this is a really important phase to be focusing on. So we go through 5 different phases. Number 1 is review. When you review, go through the thoughts that you're having on how you're performing. It's confronting the man in the mirror. It's going, am I fucking living to the man that I said I was going to be? Or am I still full of shit and doing the same things? Number 2 is identify your wins and your losses. Okay, it's really, really important to make sure we recognize actually where we're winning, because our mind always goes to the loss first. And we want to actually focus on building the positives. Number 3 is focusing on your top 3 things that you're going to do for the week. What are those things that you need to achieve? Now, you can use the pillars, you can split it between personal and professional, but there has to be clear, concise indications about why those fucking top 3 things are your things that you want to focus on. Why would they move your life forwards? So the next one is time blocks. So what we do with time blocks is that we create set blocks in here. So for an hour and a half, so we go from 9 to 10:30, where we do deep work on one thing. To take 15 minutes, and then we'll go from 10:45 to 12:15. That's our second deep work. And what we do is we break ourselves into those kill zones, and that gives us huge amounts of productivity, huge amounts of focus on our tasks and what we're doing. And the last part is making sure that we highlight what the low value tasks are and making sure that we eradicate them out of our plan, out of our system, out of our lives, and delegating them, moving them somewhere into a part of the day where we don't really need much energy to deal with them. Okay, we're focusing on being productive, we're getting the strategy right, we want to focus on those high value tasks that move us forwards. And if we're swimming with those low value tasks, we're going to fall behind. Okay, step 4, which is one of the most important for the guys that come through. It is your daily ritual. It's your morning routine. It's the primer to set your mind, your emotions, and your physical state, right? So here's just an example. So making sure that we don't have phones on in the morning. When you pick up your phone and you look at it, you've already fallen behind. You do not need to look at that shit straight away. The first hour is about you and becoming the asset of your life. Then we're looking at cold, we're looking at movement, we're looking at breathing. So maybe cold tubs, meditations, breathings, yoga, press ups, whatever it's going to be. Get the body active, get the mind primed, get ready for the day. That's what we're looking at doing. Get out, get on a walk. That's what sets us apart from everybody else. That's what helps us create and sustain the system that we're on for 2026. Make sure you review your missions. What is it that you're trying to achieve? Remind yourself, come back to it every single time. You're coming back to that center point going, this is my mission. This is what I'm trying to achieve. This is where my time, my energy and focus is being driven. If you fucking forget that, you'll disconnect and you'll go straight back to the old chaotic systems that have not served you in the past. And lastly, prioritize your high value tasks. Make sure you know what they are, why the fuck you're doing them, so that you're not going off on a tangent and trying to do 10 other things. One clear thing that is going to move you forwards. So number 5 is time boundaries. This is about building a life you want rather than one that you are trapped in. So there's a couple of key points here. Is making sure your transitions from personal space to work, from work to personal space are slick, they're rhythm, they're smooth. And that's what we work on with the guys, is like, when are the timings? What are the boundaries? How do you trigger those? How do you avoid getting caught up into a fucking cycle of chaos and then making some excuse about why you didn't make it home for dinner? Number 2, the hardest discipline is the most important. Getting out of bed, taking care of your body at the gym, making sure you're home on time, turning your phone off. You've got to look at the most important things and start building a streak system with some of these so that you never break. One of the things I've got going on is not watching porn. I'm nearly at 200 days. The next one is I'm not watching news. I've watched news for 75 days. And I've been on a particular low cholesterol diet for 82 days. And it just builds up that streak system. Number 3, it's important to understand that structure creates your presence. You will not have presence at home. You will not build success from home unless there is structure in place to build that. So you've got to have this system in play. If you want to build success from home first, structure is your game. And then the last part is presence creates leadership at home. When you are present, when you are in a room, when you are listening, when you're paying attention, when you're not on your phone, people are looking at you different. People warm to you more. Your kids recognize the attention that you're giving them. Your 2026 is not going to be built on your goals. It's going to be built on your systems. If your week is weak, your year is going to collapse again, and you're going to go straight back to the outdated, chaotic operating system that you always do. With structure comes control. With control comes the clarity. And with clarity comes peace. And we all need fucking peace as a bloke, right? Especially when we're performing at a high level. This is the foundation to a strong 2026. And if you want to come into our world to do our 2-week Mission Insight program, to work with me, take part in our accountability system, get full access to our course, get our live trainings, build yourself up, your systems, your structures, your routines, then there is a link in the description that you can go and click, go and check out the details and register your interest. So if you want to go deeper, the next video covers how to build your mission in 2026 so you stay accountable to the man that you said you would be.